His name is Deputy Sandeep Dhaliwal. He was described as a hero and a trailblazer. He was the first observant Sikh to become a sheriff's deputy in his Texas community. He made national headlines in 2015 when his sheriff's office changed its policy to allow him to grow out his beard and wear a traditional Sikh turban while on patrol. In September 2019, Deputy Dhaliwal's name was in headlines again, when the 42-year-old married father of 3 was shot during what was supposed to have been a routine traffic stop in the suburbs of Houston. The 10-year veteran succumbed to his injuries in the hospital a few hours later. Known for his generosity and commitment to public service, Deputy Dhaliwal is said to have walked away from a lucrative job to join the Harris County Sheriff's Office and protect the community he loved. Often using his beard and turban as a conversation starter, he would educate young and old about Sikh beliefs and values and build bridges within his community. He was a unifying symbol and respected by all who served with him.
The Harris County Sheriff's Office lost one of its own. There's simply no words to adequately express our heartbreak, our sadness at this time.
Deputy Dhaliwal's name now joins those of the thousands of heroes who have paid the ultimate sacrifice, engraved on the walls of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial.
Tonight, we pay tribute to Deputy Sheriff Dhaliwal and all the brave men and women who lost their lives in the line of duty. Our hearts go out to the families, friends, and co-workers of the fallen. They bear the burden of such incredible loss. Good evening. I am Marcia Ferranto, CEO of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund. I want to thank you for joining me and our special guests for the 32nd annual Candlelight Vigil. When the memorial was dedicated in 1991, there were 12,500 names engraved into the wall. Every year since, the list has grown and more names have been added. As a solemn tribute to those who have given their lives in service to our communities. Right now, all over the country, law enforcement professionals are putting their lives on the line, continuing to protect us despite the dangers brought by COVID-19. And due to COVID-19, this year's memorial events could not be held on the National Mall, as it has been for the last 31 years. But we have been given a unique opportunity to unite for this solemn occasion virtually. This year's Candlelight Vigil pays tribute to 307 law enforcement officers who made the ultimate sacrifice. Their names have just been added to the walls of the memorial in Washington, D.C., joining the 21,910 already engraved there. As part of the vigil, we will continue the tradition of reading the names of the fallen. We will hear survivor stories and tribute messages of gratitude and support. While you're watching, join us in honoring law enforcement by lighting a virtual candle and offering a gift of remembrance. Our goal is to light 22,217 virtual candles, one for each name on the wall. And please, post a message on our virtual tribute wall. You can see a link on the screen. I want to thank you for joining us this evening, and I especially want to thank Verizon, our longtime partner and benefactor, whose incredible support has made it possible for us to gather virtually and hold our Candlelight Vigil. Together, we stand united by light. Now it is my honor to introduce Hans Vestberg, Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of Verizon.
Thank you, Marcia, and the National Law Enforcement Memorial for inviting us to this very special evening. Verizon is privileged to be part of this, to make a tribute and honor the people that have sacrificed in the line of duty. For me, this means a lot. My grandfather, my father, my brother, my brother's wife, and even my wife's family are all in the law enforcement and being police officers. So I know what it means to make commitment, to make us all safe every day out in this society, and seeing that communities are well functioning. Unfortunately, that commitment sometimes leads to sacrifices. We're here today to pay the tribute to the men and women that have lost their lives in the line of duty. Now, as a special tribute to the men and women that have made the ultimate sacrifice, we will begin to read their names.
From the state of Alabama, William Ray Beekner Jr., Abram S. Johnson, Waitasha Lamar Carter, Billy Fred Clardy III, William Eaton Haynes, Levi Petway, John Arthur Williams Sr., William A. Russell Jr., Sean Paul Tudor, Julius Jamal Daly, Dornell Cousette, from the state of Arizona, Gene Wade Lee, Paul Thomas Rutherford, from the state of Arkansas, Ali Edward Mitz, George W. Rogers, Ulyss Melvin Baldwin, Stephen Paul Carr, Michael David Stephen Sr., from the state of California, Rudolph Bond, Stephen Lawrence Lycon, Andre Maurice Moy Jr., Natalie Becky Corona, Brian David Ishmael, Elmer Jonathan Diaz, William Guillermo Buet, Ames Randolph Jones, Esmeralda Ponce Ramirez, Juan Jose Diaz, Carlos J. Kamen, Leroy Hopkins Tripp, Charles H. Wetzel, Tara Christina O'Sullivan, Harry A. Peshon, Henson McCoy Pyle, Warren Byron Willard. From the state of Colorado, Joshua Eli Voth, Daniel H. Groves, William James Modane, Alfred Alonzo Personet, John M. McKee, Joe E. Tucker.
Today we recognize the 135 officers we lost last year, as well as the 172 officers lost in prior years, whose stories of sacrifice had been lost to history until now. Serving as a law enforcement officer is the toughest job in America. This was true in the past, and it is especially true today. It takes a special kind of courage to take on this unrelenting mission. America is blessed to have people of such character and professionalism willing to serve on the front lines. Today, through this commemoration, we help ensure that the names of these fallen officers will be added to the memorial wall and known deservedly, not just in their communities, but across the nation. We can honor their legacies and show our gratitude. That is the duty we all now share.
The job of law enforcement in a free society is a difficult one, if we are to stay free. Our police officers choose to walk that line between those two essential values every day. And in doing so, they have earned our respect and our support. For the heroes who gave their last full measure, for the families who love them, we will take what they have left us and what they have taught us and celebrate with gratitude their devotion to keeping us safe and free.
My name is Detective Shauna McClure, and Carrie Orozco was my coworker at the Omaha Police Department. Carrie was incredibly dedicated to serving her community. Beyond the uniform was a friend, a mentor. She was a wife and a mother, and she's an all-around damn good woman. Carrie and her husband, Hector, were expecting their first child together. Carrie delivered Olivia prematurely. She made the decision not to start her maternity leave until after Olivia was released from the hospital. The day Carrie died was her last day on the job before her maternity leave was set to begin. May 20th, 2015 was a beautiful, sunny spring day when a voice came over the radio.
Shots fired, officer down. I repeat, officer down.
When I got there, I saw that it was Carrie. And she was not breathing on her own. And Carrie died in my arms.
5 Delta. We're going to her final call. Service. Officer Carrie Roscoe, may her soul rest in eternal peace.
I was so overcome with guilt that it absolutely consumed me. My inability to save her. When I tell you that I broke, I mean I broke. It was because of some serious unconditional love that I scraped up enough strength to pick myself up and get back in the fight. I went to the wall almost a year to the day from the date that Carrie was killed. When I walked up, I remember kneeling down and seeing her name etched in the wall was such a feeling of finality. You look around and you see her name amongst all of her brothers and sisters that made that ultimate sacrifice, and you see these incredible memorials, and it's just breathtaking. The Candlelight Vigil really added to the experience, being in amongst other survivors.
From the state of Nebraska, Carrie Sue Orozco.
There is something that happens in that moment when you realize that you're not alone. When you realize that somebody else understands. And it was in that moment that I realized that we are all in this together. That was an incredible moment. That's what it means to be a survivor.
We must never forget these heroes. They gave their lives for the safety and protection of others. To the families, friends, and fellow officers who have been touched by the lives of those we are honoring, we're joining together to recognize your loved ones' courage and patriotism, and to show you our gratitude. I hope this brings you some comfort. On behalf of Northrop Grumman, we thank our law enforcement community for your service and your sacrifice.
We recognize and memorialize our dedicated men and women who tirelessly serve our nation. They are steadfast in their resolve to protect and defend the American people and our way of life, especially those lost in the line of duty and those on the front lines during our global health crisis. We owe the fallen and their families an incredible debt of gratitude. We carry their memories in our hearts because, after all, heroes live forever.
From the state of Connecticut, Stephen A. Ketchum, Matthew Bradley Manieri, from the state of Florida, William Creighton Newberry, Benjamin Ryan Nimps, Stephen James Dodson, Charles Edward Williams, Daniel Dwayne Hinton, Tracy Leslie Vickers, John Luff Owens, Gary Vickers, Thomas H. Branch, Comas Celis Revels, Joseph Robinson, Stephen James Brown, Anthony Neary. From the state of Georgia, Edgar Plemon Harris, Robert Sidney Wallace, James Joseph Biello, Bobby Sue Honey, Spencer Allen Englet, Joshua Brian Ryer Jr., Nicholas Blaine Dixon, Michaela Elizabeth Smith, Isaac Albert McLeod, Joseph Warren Brown, Cecil Dwayne Ridley, Kelvin Bernard Ansari. From the state of Idaho, Vernal E. Keller. From the state of Illinois, James Watkins. Herbert Bronson. Troy Philip Chisholm. Christopher James Lambert. Brooke Elizabeth Jones Story. Gerald Wayne Ellis. Nicholas John Hopkins. Jacob Howard Keltner. Joseph Benjamin Hood. Bert Sylvester Plattenberger. Bryant Hemphill.
Law enforcement is selfless, but it is also a calling. It carries with it quiet rewards, a sense of purpose and dignity, along with the respect a life of service yields. Those who serve protect that which truly matters most. It is a calling for the special few, the men and women who are sworn to protect. Day or night, on duty or off, they never stop protecting others. Their bravery is unrivaled, and our gratitude is boundless.
These men and women are heroes. They were loved, and they loved right back. They not only loved their family and friends, they also loved their communities. So much that they sacrificed everything. The men and women in law enforcement are drawn to this profession because it's a calling. It's a passion to want to help others and make the world a better place. As a leader in the COPS organization, I can tell you that the survivors of these heroes are some of the strongest and most resilient people on earth. We make this promise to each of you. Your officer will never be forgotten.
My name is Emilio Miares, and I am the National President of Concerns of Police Survivors. My father was killed in the line of duty on November 6, 1986. My mom was 29, I was 7, and my sister was 4. My father was a motorman for the city of Hialeah in the Miami-Dade County. I remember being at my grandmother's house. My mom got a phone call, and my mom ran out of the house. I remember looking out the window and I said, my daddy's dead. When this happens, it's almost like you're lost. People go back to their regular life. But unfortunately, the survivor's life, it's not regular anymore. I have grown up without him. It's really hard just not having him for anything. Graduating from high school, everybody else's parents were there. I didn't have my dad. Then I think one of the hardest things was having my daughters, just not having him there was, whoa. I think that was one of the hardest things. It's a job that is not just the person that's doing it, it's also involves the rest of the family. On the face of it, when he was a police officer, he was more than that. So it's almost remembering the man he was and how he lived. The father, the husband, the friend, and the impact he made on other people's lives. And I started participating in Police Week for the first time in May of '89. And I pretty much got involved with cops then. When you're involved in cops and you're around other people that are experiencing the same loss and the same grief, having people to talk to is one of the best things. Just that peer support that we have, and it helps you just live a day-to-day. I remember going to the Candlelight Vigils. I must have been like 11 years old, 12, I guess, the first time I went to the memorial site. That's when my father's name was added. The first time I saw his name, there's so many emotions behind it. For some people, it's just a wall with a name. But there's a lot behind, there's other emotions. It's not I go back every year, but you get upset and you're angry that you have to go there. But at the same time, it's an honor to be able to go there. Every time I go to Police Week, obviously I go to the wall and I take my family. My daughters and my mom goes and everybody goes. We want to make sure they know about him in their life and how he lived. I do feel him there because I know that he's there. It's almost like he's hanging out with his blue family. I just can't explain it. There's so much emotion and power there. It's so peaceful, but in that silence and in that peace, there's so much power behind it. All the survivors I met over the years, it's almost, we become family. This year, with all the events of Police Week being canceled, we're doing the best we can to continue to honor the officers and to let the families know that they are not forgotten, that we're here remembering the families, the survivors, and the coworkers. I'm there for other survivors. And not only is that something that I want to do to help them, but I think that's something my dad would have done as well. I always live so he's not forgotten.
This day to me is really about promises made and promises kept. Promises made to all of those men and women who serve every day,
potentially facing real danger to protect the rest of us.
We honor our brothers and sisters whose names are added to the memorial wall.
It is not how they died that is so important. It is how they lived.
I'm grateful to you. I'm grateful to your families.
We reflect, we reminisce, we remember.
But frankly, we need to remember them every day.
They have given all.
God bless you. God keep you.
Hi, I'm Joe Montaigne. Tonight at this special vigil, I want the men and women of law enforcement to know you've had my support, respect, and admiration for well over 60 years now, and you'll always have it. Thank you for choosing a profession that's so noble, and you do it in the service of your fellow man. And you will always have my 100% support.
From the state of Indiana, Peter Richard Steffen, David Paul Hewitt, from the state of Iowa, Stephanie Jean Schurers, from the state of Kentucky, George T. Benz, Marion Lane, Isaac Pennington, Bobby Wayne Jacobs, Christopher Michael Hulsey, Alonzo Robinson. From the state of Louisiana, Shane Michael Toddy, Byron Sean Romero, Stephen Dwayne Wittstein, Vincent Nat Liberto Jr., Larry Wayne Jean, Shateri Elise Payne. From the state of Maine, Benjamin James Campbell, Paralee Morrison Sprague, from the state of Maryland, Alexander McIntosh, Charles J. Walsh, John H. Dames, James T. Harvey, Francis J. Fulham, Edgar C. Shalito, Arthur R. Cornthwaite, Kyle David Allinger, From the state of Massachusetts, Thomas F. Dinan, James B. DeShazo, Harold J. Collins, from the state of Michigan, Michael Joseph Tralka, Scott James Larkins, Rasheen Philippe McLean, Nelson Reed Cook, Edwin John Wormsbacher, Francis William Lamonnion, William D. McCabe.
Good evening. I'm John McGleeka, director at NAG Instrument. We join together in this virtual candlelight vigil, honoring the courage and sacrifice of our fallen officers and that of their families, the husbands and the wives, fathers and mothers, the sons and daughters who also gave in the preservation of our nation's laws.
We know the sacrifices you make are the result of a deep commitment to public service, and we know that is not easy. We are especially grateful for your service and that of your families, who are also making a tremendous sacrifice. Each day, we see your acts of kindness, your acts of service in our communities, and we will continue to do all we can to partner in these efforts, to share your stories, and to honor the memories of the fallen.
My name is Julie Carnacey, and Kevin Ton was my brother. Kevin was a canine officer with the Galt Police Department in California. Before Kevin became a police officer, he was a firefighter in upstate New York. So he wanted to be a cop for as long as I can remember. Kevin loved animals, especially dogs, and he just really, really liked the thought of being a canine officer. It started out for all of us like a normal day. Kevin had been called with several other officers. There was a man walking near some railroad tracks that just appeared suspicious. Within just a few seconds of approaching the person, a fight broke out. When Kevin reached to radio the call in, the suspect was able to pull out a gun and shoot him. When I got to the hospital, there were cop cars everywhere. I had never experienced anything like that. I went into the emergency room entrance. I saw a chaplain walking toward me. I just started screaming at her, "Is he dead? Is he dead?" Kevin paid the ultimate sacrifice on January 15th, 2013. Galt is a very small, quiet town about 30 minutes south of Sacramento. Kevin was actually the first line of duty death they experienced. The police department was in shock. It was really hard on a lot of his coworkers. I definitely think Kevin's canine PRO sensed something was going on and that Kevin was missing. They were inseparable. When we went to the wall for the first time, my husband and my kids and my parents were all there. It was just a really beautiful place that you could tell there were so many stories to be told. Once you see the name carved in stone, it made it feel very permanent. but it really just made me feel even more connected to all the people that wall represented and their families. Once you lose someone in the line of duty, you truly are connected because you know there are people out there that understand, that you can rely on and share stories with. They know what you're going through. I would like to see other people honor Kevin's life by just not forgetting him. I think that's what most survivors fear, is that once all the ceremonies come and go, that their officer won't matter anymore. It's not true, because they still matter and their story matters and who they were as a person matters. You want people to remember that he was more than just a police officer. He had a family, he had friends, he had a life outside of his job. Although it was a really big part of him, his job wasn't completely who he was. Kevin Ton was my big brother and my hero.
As we all have spent time in isolation over these past few months, we've all missed our friends and our loved ones. But at least most of us know that we'll have the opportunity to be together again sometime soon. The survivors that are watching tonight are in a much different position. Their new normal is far different and far more tragic than ours. We owe it to them to recognize the sacrifice that not only their loved ones made, but also the sacrifice that those survivors will continue to make every day of their lives. We owe it to them to not forget their loved ones, to not wait for Police Week every year to show our appreciation to the brave men and women of law enforcement.
As the world faces a new and invisible threat, we once again see how first responders run in to face the danger and protect the rest of us. So we should be especially grateful to the men and women who have given their lives to keep us all safe, and to those who are putting their lives at risk as we speak.
From the state of Minnesota, Frank E. McGregor, Eugene Herman Wynn Jr., from the state of Mississippi, Robert Stanton McKeithen, Jeremy Allen Voiles, Willie Houston West, E. Ray Hawkins, from the state of Missouri, David William Waymeyer, Wayne Mark Niedenberg, Michael Vincent Langsdorff, Richard T. Blue, from the state of Montana, Jacob Otto Allmendinger, from the state of Nebraska, Randy Zure Haddix, Jerry Lewis Smith Jr., from the state of Nevada, John Carl Dorff, from the state of New Jersey, April Eleanor Bird, Joseph Allen Seals, Brian U. McCoy, John Zinger, Pavlos D. Pallas, Vincent Joseph Oliva, Charles Barzidlo, James W. Kennelly, Mark J. Meyer, Michael Edmund Teal, William James Leahy, William Henry Letts,
in order to serve and protect. The nature of our job is such that we have to make sacrifices. My name is Patrick Montori, and I am the CEO and founder of the Police Unity Tour. We ride for those who died, to honor, to remember, and to respect. When we go to law enforcement officer funerals, you have to wonder what happens for the family when the bagpipe stops playing and the flag is transferred over to the family and say, we thank you for this service. How do we honor them? Well, the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C. is that place. The Police Unity Tour started in 1997 to bring awareness to law enforcement officers around our country who have died in the line of duty, to memorialize our law enforcement brothers and sisters, and to raise money for the memorial and the museum. In 1997, we had 18 riders. We've grown to officers as far as Australia, California, Las Vegas, Arizona, all over the United States and outside of the United States. And in this past year, we had almost 2,800 participants. We ride Washington, D.C., over a 3.5-day ride, 350 miles. Our surviving riders for the Police Unity Tour lead us into the last 4.5-mile stretch. To take us home to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial. When we get to the wall, it's the culmination, it's the most amazing feeling. We ride around the entire memorial, past every single officer's name. We ride to honor the officers on that wall and say, we made it, we are here for you. We will honor and respect and never forget you. It's not just limited to honoring and remembering our fallen. It is also about honoring those law enforcement officers this very day that put their lives on the line for us. They're the heroes. Their stories need to be told. Over the last 24 years, the Police Unity Tour has donated $28 million to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial and Museum. Even though we physically can't ride this year, our mission and goal has always been to honor our fallen, to make sure that they're remembered and engraved on that wall. Through the Police Unity Tour, we will continue to support each other, the memorial, and our law enforcement officers that are fighting for us out there. We thank you with all our hearts.
It is my honor to participate with you in this year's 2020 virtual candlelight ceremony. I attended my first police funeral in October of 1970. That was for police officer Walter Schroeder. 3 years later, I attended the funeral for his brother, also killed in the line of duty. In over 50 years of service to this country, I've had to attend too many funerals. We always hope the next funeral will be the last, but we know that is not the case. But we will always honor their memory. We've made that promise. Tonight, we make that promise a reality once again.
The National Law Enforcement Memorial Wall now includes more than 22,000 names, each a brave, selfless law enforcement officer who answered the call to protect their communities. Some of these names include individuals who made the ultimate sacrifice during the attacks of September 11th, 2001, the very attacks which led to the creation of the department I am honored to lead today. These names not only stand as a memorial for us to grieve and remember, but also as a monument to the values we hold dear as a country, including respect, integrity, and selfless service.
From the state of New York, Stephen B. McLeod, Walter Lowry Mallinson, Peter F. Curran, Peter Martino, Paul J. McCabe, Brian R. Abandandolo, Michael P. Shea, James V. Quinn, Edward J. Fitzgerald, William G. Parker, Nathaniel Holland Jr., Mark Lawler, William T. Walsh, Joseph F. Hyde, Yolanda Cowley, Sean P. Franklin, Jason H. Offner, Thomas J. Gallagher, Gary M. Franklin, James E. Ryan, Scott R. Blackshaw, Barbara J. Sullivan, Robert P. Massey, John P. Ferrari, Lawrence J. Rivera, Robert Ortiz, Jeffrey A. Lee, Paul J. Johnson, Michael O. Diamond, Anthony R. Hanlon, Joseph L. Pidotto, Manuel Vargas Jr., Wade Jason Williams, Jennifer Meehan, Audrey P. Capra, Thomas J. Lyons, Kenneth Xavier Dominic, Joseph M. Roman, Brian Paul Simonson, Gregory V. Melita, Philip T. Perry, Charles James Humphrey, Philip E. Panzarella, Patrick Thomas McGovern, Keith A. Ferreira, James B. Boyle, Luis Gustavo Alvarez, Christopher E. Cranston, Thomas Santoro, Brian Charles Mulkeen, Robert Berwick, Jeffrey M. Sikora.
It is my honor to join the National Law Enforcement Officers' Candlelight Vigil on behalf of the men and women in blue that have given the ultimate sacrifice for us. I spent 30 years as a prosecutor and district attorney with the honor of working alongside of them. They are the essence of courage, bravery, and all that America stands for. We thank them every day for what they do for us, for leaving their homes with their families never knowing if they'll return. God bless those who have made the ultimate sacrifice, and God keep safe those men and women who continue to patrol the streets to make sure that all of us are safe.
Good evening. It's my honor to salute our nation's law enforcement officers who serve and protect our homes, streets, neighborhoods, and communities, and who every day put their lives on the line to protect ours. Everyday heroes who took on one of the toughest jobs on earth. The memorial serves as a reminder that through this job, our men and women in uniform put all others before themselves. I speak on behalf of the entire Motorola Solutions team when I say I'm deeply humbled by the bravery and humanity shown by the fallen officers we're honoring this evening and also by those who protect us on the front lines today.
Honoring the fallen is a solemn responsibility, even more so in these difficult days of a worldwide pandemic. But in these unpredictable moments, we cherish even more what is steadfast and unshakable, like the commitment of the men and women in law enforcement and the respect we have for your work. On behalf of the Target team, we honor your steady presence on the front line, in good times and in bad. We honor the role you're playing and the added challenge you're facing during the uncertainty of COVID-19. We honor your families and your loved ones, and we honor the sacrifices you're making as you support and safeguard our lives.
From the state of North Carolina, Jordan Harris Sheldon, Makeem Ricktrell Brooks. From the state of Ohio, William Lee Brewer Jr., Dale James Woods, George Rene Del Rio, Claude McCormick. From the state of Oklahoma, Sam H. Scott, Herschel A. Smith, Brian Keith Crane, Michael Lee Loudenslager, Daniel Boyd Martin, J. H. Seiler, Monty Thomas Johnson, Joseph Lanier, Willis Shepard. From the state of Pennsylvania, Adam J. Hine, Joseph Daniel Coyle, William Bell, William H. Paget, Alan Regis Capozzi, Richard A. Teague, Robert Earl McAllister, Ernest W. Gaujat. From the state of South Carolina, Thomas J. Martin, Michael Sean Latu, Robert G. Johnston, Robert Morris McFadden, Mike K. Knotts, Marion Clifton Nettles Sr., Frank Henry Knapp. From the state of Tennessee, Jonathan Merriman, Thomas Obadiah Musgrove, Nicholas Scott Galinger, Joseph Brian Montijo, Stephen Michael Reese, John Asbury Gillespie, Spencer Daniel Bristol, John Ralph Anderson IV, Stephen Billy Hinkle, Deborah K. Porter Johnson, Matthew Elias Gotti.
Today, as we honor those that we have lost, let us renew our commitment to take care of each other and protect those who continue to serve and provide them with the tools to be safe. We have a responsibility to take care of those that protect us. So on behalf of my DuPont colleagues around the world, we say thank you to the heroes and their families for their service and sacrifice.
Heroes are those extraordinary men and women who serve their community each and every day, not knowing the challenges ahead. When confronted with adversity, it is these brave officers who stand with unwavering commitment and courage to answer the call. All the officers being immortalized today will never be forgotten. They are my true American heroes.
Every day, hundreds of thousands in law enforcement show up in the moments that matter, and they do it with great drive and perseverance and courage.
Their courage and fidelity and devotion to duty, their compassion and generosity are on display every day.
They see themselves as people simply doing their jobs, but it's a very special job. It's something that not everyone can do.
They make our country not only stronger, but more just. They often look danger in the face, and sometimes they give their last full measure of devotion.
I want to thank the National Law Enforcement Memorial for giving us the opportunity to do this tribute to our fallen brothers and sisters.
The National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund and Museum are dedicated to telling the story of American law enforcement.
Memorials like this, they don't just happen. They evolve out of the respect and admiration of so many who understand the challenges and sacrifice law enforcement officers make.
Making sure those we have lost will always be remembered with dignity, honor, and respect.
So that their families know that they will never be forgotten for the ultimate sacrifice that they made.
For the families of the 307 loved ones, we are connected today with our thoughts, our prayers, and as one body with many hearts that beat blue.
Connected through service and sacrifice and loss.
As we remember our fallen heroes now and always,
the bond that we have for each other will never be broken.
And even though we can't be there this year,
their sacrifice will never ever be forgotten.
The sacrifice of your officer will not be forgotten.
We will honor and remember them in every way possible.
We join you across the nation. We will be praying for each one of you.
In valor, there is hope.
Be safe and God bless.
You know, the wall has a very special place in my heart. I'll never forget that first time, seeing a child tracing the name of their loved one on the wall. This is the week we salute our law enforcement officers. And I think most people in America feel the same way I do. We love you, we respect you, we know you do your job with integrity, you're brave and strong. So when you're out there, ride safe, be healthy, God bless.
From the state of Texas, Abner Matlock, Jose Humberto Meza, Peter John Herrera, Matthew Ryan Jones, Albert Ramirez Castaneda Jr., Sandeep Singh Dhaliwal, Christopher Charles Lewis Brewster, Russell Dean Salazar, Carlos Aaron Ramirez, Jose Luis Blancarte, Nathan Hayden Heidelberg, Jose Luis Esperacueta Jr., Kayla Marie Sullivan, William Christopher Dickerson, Clifton John Martinez, Brian Charles Pfluger, Ali Parks, Moses Sanchez, Ernest St. Leon, David Jones Fitzpatrick, Joseph Lamar Kolb, from the state of Utah, Joseph William Shinners, from the state of Vermont, Frank Ullman Hayden, from the state of Virginia, Tony John Peaches, James Cox, James Carter, James Walker, John Kerr, John Maher, Joseph Say, Julius Schultz, Michael McCarthy, Daniel G. Turgee, William R. Cray, Lucas Bartley Dowell, from the state of Washington, Justin Richard DeRosier, Ryan Shane Thompson, Michael Franklin Knapp, Cooper Andrew Dyson, from the state of West Virginia, Basil Edward Wright, from the state of Wisconsin, William McGinty, Matthew John Rittner, Fred Robert Waysiski, John David Hetland,
On behalf of all of the men and women of Thomson Reuters, I would like to express our collective respect for the remarkable people who selflessly protect our communities, our cities, and our states across America. We are humbled by their courage, their dedication, and their heroism. We honor and remember them now and forever.
My name is Stacy Allen. My husband was Lieutenant Aaron Allen. He was killed in the line of duty July 27th of 2017. It was Aaron Jr.'s first day of kindergarten. It was a very special day. We were really excited. After we got Aaron Jr. on the bus, Big Aaron went to work. So while my little guy was at school, walking into the unknown, my husband also walked into the unknown that day. It was a single car accident. My husband was the closest responding officer. He crawled into the car to help them, and the driver pulled a handgun from the vehicle and shot him 11 times. So Aaron Jr. came home, and I sat him down on the bed and I told him that Daddy had been hurt really bad and that he went to heaven to be with God. I definitely have had my moments of just sheer anger and mad and sad and the why, but I've also learned I'm not gonna live there. This person already stole my husband away from us. I'm not going to give in to the anger and the evil that took my husband from us. Getting to DC and seeing the wall for the first time was extremely emotional, extremely hard. I mean, that was the love of my life, and yet now I see his name in stone. It was very overwhelming. But it also brought a sense of, I'm not alone. I'm not alone. Those letters don't just make up a name. It makes up a person that was stolen from this world way too soon. And he is missed dearly every day. I'm very blessed with an amazing support system of longtime friends and family, and then the additional layer of our law enforcement family. When Aaron was murdered, his brothers and sisters in blue, they were crushed. They all knew him and loved him. His Southport family has come together to escort Aaron Jr. back to school every year. A notification had went out to some other departments that said, hey, if you want to line the streets for Aaron Allen Jr., tomorrow is his first day of first grade. So that morning I woke up, there was probably a good 30, 40 cars lining the streets with all of their lights on. They were saluting him, and the doom of that day, the dark cloud that hung over that special day for us, wasn't there because our family and law enforcement was there to just kind of be there. It was so amazing.
Law enforcement has always been a profession of heroes. With each name, let's remember their loved ones, their communities, their departments, their partners whose watch is still ongoing and whose grief will seem to never end. Tonight, let's not only hear their names, let's remember their stories. Let's remember their uncommon acts of courage and compassion, their heroism, dedication, and devotion. For the survivors, tonight is a reminder that your place in our family has forever been etched in stone. These officers and their loved ones will never be forgotten.
From the federal law enforcement agencies, Michelle T. Paul, Liquat Ali Khan, Donna Marie Doss, Robert Mark Houghton, John A. Fallon, Frederick H. Bathy, John Anthony Butchko, Thomas Foley, Alfred F. Duckworth, Albert Gibson, Lorenzo C. Crowell, Richard Zeff, William Pross, Jesse B. Bristol, Henry Peckinpah, Norman D. Merkel, from the tribal agencies, Huska Thompson, Gordon C. James, Clayton Joel Townsend, Stephen Gasper Greco, Shannon Lee Barron, from the Railroad Police, John Harrison Bausman, Rube T. Pollock, George Durst Farmer, Henry Clyde Hatcher, William E. Deal, from the American Territories, Jesus Abner Marrero Martinez, Pedro Joel Rodriguez Mateo, Alfred Sanyet Perez.
They gave their lives, keeping us, our families, and our communities safe. Their sacrifice is humbling. Each name that appears on the memorial walls reminds us how precious our freedoms are and that many people have paid the ultimate price to protect those freedoms. Each of these officers acted selflessly and with courage. We're more grateful to them and their families than could ever be expressed by words.
I look up the panel, direction and what line. Through all these names here, you're hard to find. I kneel beside the flowers, the pictures, homemade cards, the pain of your loss stinging in my heart. There's a trace across the letters that spell out your name. I swear I feel you here with me, and I just came to say you're not forgotten. I want you to know that your face fills my memory, your spirit fills my soul, and this I do to honor you. Though I may not get to see this wall too often, you're not forgotten. You're not forgotten. To perpetuate your memory, there's a stone that bears your name, and your spirit comes alive in us, and we come here to say you're not forgotten. You're not forgotten.
Our freedom and our prosperity are bought at a price. We know that the American people are only safe because law enforcement officers across this country swore an oath to protect them. Law enforcement is not just a job. It's a vocation. It's a calling. And it's a calling for the special few who, day and night, on duty or off, they never stop protecting others. This memorial and the work of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund help ensure that our fallen family members are never forgotten. As we honor those that we've lost, let us renew our commitment to take care of each other, to protect those who continue to serve, and to provide them with the tools to be safe and well.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. And I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieve, and how precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed.
Hello, I'm Tammy Irwin, CEO of Verizon Business, and on behalf of Verizon employees across the globe, I would like to thank all of you for joining us this evening as we pay tribute to the men and women who have served our country and the families that support them. As we wrap this evening, I would ask that we just all double down on our commitment to support those who serve, providing them with the care and support that they need, making sure that they have the tools and equipment to be successful, and honoring, recognizing, and thanking them for their service. I'd like to add my own personal thanks for everything these first responders do on behalf of making our communities safe, healthy, and happy. Thanks again. Have a great evening.
Thank you for joining us tonight in honoring our nation's fallen law enforcement heroes. We also honor the survivors, the families, friends, and coworkers whose lives are forever impacted by their loss. We also want to thank those who made a special tribute tonight. And I want to thank our corporate partners, especially Verizon, for without Verizon tonight would not have been possible. And we want to thank you. We want to thank you for joining us in honoring the fallen. Good night, stay safe, and God bless America.